Okay, we're live. Hi, guys. This is going to be the last session for Remote Fest. We've gone through 19 sessions, and I want to say thank you to all the amazing speakers that we've had so far. Remote Fest has been organized by Remote Base, right? A company that hires top 1% talent of software engineers and matches them with Silicon Valley clients, right? So if you're not following us on our social media channels, please do well to follow us. It's Remote Base HQ at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And by the way, we have opportunities for developers to come join our team. So if you're doing React Native, full stack JavaScript, and Node.js, please go to developers.remotebase.com and apply. So thank you once again. Let's start with introductions, right? So let's start from Cynthia. Please, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Cynthia Peter, a developer advocate with the art company. So, in summary, I just make friends with developers and help onboard them to try out our solutions.
All right, awesome,
Deborah.
awesome. Yeah, over to Deborah.
Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm a software developer and I'm also a technical writer. And I have like 2 years experience building web applications and writing articles. And I currently work with a few companies, freelance with a few companies, and I work full time for a seller company as well, a blockchain company. Yeah, so that's basically what I do.
All right, fantastic. And I'm here again. My name is Aima Tigari, and I am a community manager at Remote Base. So, to the topic of today, or for this session rather, what we have is actually harnessing opportunities in technical writing. So, I will start with Deborah. I want to ask, what is technical writing even about?
Okay, technical writing, basically about writing articles that have to do, are specific to a certain topic or a specific field. For instance, web development is a field in the tech ecosystem, it's a field. So, one can decide to write an article about how to declare functions in JavaScript programming language, and by doing so, you're writing about a specific topic in a specific field. So that's basically its technical article. So the word, I think that's where the word technical was coined from. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Cynthia, would you want to add something, or should we stick with that definition?
Uh, I think she said most of it. However, clinical writing is most times to me being able to explain concepts, um, explain processes in a way that someone that was not there when something was done would look at it and be like, okay, yeah, I have an idea of what there is a technical documentation and people are not able to grasp or get an understanding of what the message is supposed to be, then there's a problem. So technical writing is just breaking down these technical ideas, concepts, processes, and making it readable and useful to whoever will be making use of it.
Okay, thank you. So, to my next question, there's a lot of talk about technical writing, and then, some people want to get into the field of technical writing, and they're not exactly sure how to go about it. So, I would like to know, how did you become a technical writer, and by extension, how does one qualify to become a technical writer? Over to you, Deborah.
Okay, so I'll go with the first question. How does one become a technical writer? So I started technical writing when I was learning Node.js about like 2 years ago. So what I was doing as I then was I was documenting what my learning process. So if I learn let's say how to do authentication in Node.js, I would literally write about it. I might be taking a course or a tutorial or several courses, and I would be documenting what I'm learning. And I was using that as a reference doc where I can always go back to and refresh my memory and all of that. So I think someone can start from there and become a technical writer by basically just writing about what you are learning, whatever you're learning, and or whatever you're working on, and try to explain it as if you were explaining it to someone else, as if you're teaching someone, and basically, yeah. So I think the second question was about how does one qualify, if I'm right.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay, okay. So I don't think there's any. I don't know. I don't think you need a certificate to be qualified. I don't know. Maybe there is, or I don't know, Sha. So, I feel basically putting out your work out there. Write several technical articles. Have a blog. I use Hashnote, so you can have like a blog. Can use Medium, Dev.to, whatever suits you. Just have a blog where you have written several technical articles and you put it out there for people to see. I think when you apply for jobs or when clients decide to reach out to you, they would see what you have done, and that in its own sense is a way of qualifying you or showing that you have the qualification for this certain role. And I think it depends on what the company is looking for. The requirements for each company differ. For instance, a particular company might be looking for like a DevOps, someone that writes about DevOps, and not just someone that writes about DevOps, someone that is knowledgeable about Docker, or let me not use Docker, some knowledgeable about using an automation tool like CircleCI, and um and someone that's good at writing tutorial kind of articles, because there are several kinds of articles. Let me know, but let me know the do or something. So what I'm trying to say is it depends on the company themselves. They may have different requirements for you as a technical writer. So just put out your content, just put out what you write, and you basically be able to apply in that certain field and qualify for that certain field if you're good enough and professional enough.
Okay, okay. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Deborah. So, over to you, Cynthia. How did you? Because I know in the last session you talked about right being at some point, being a technical writer. I think you still write, right? But right now you're a developer advocate. So, how did you become a technical writer?
I think it's very similar to how Deborah became one. Um, I started learning how to write Flutter 2019 content creator. I was just writing blog posts. And prior to that, I taught kids computer studies. That was my during my NYSC. So I taught kids computer studies, and due to the they were in a very remote area, like they've basically never seen a computer before. I had to find ways to break it down, like down bad. You know, when you enter a class and you're reading from the textbook and forming one thing. I mean, look at me now. I was writing JavaScript then. And then you ask them, do you understand? And then they say yes. And then you ask them, what is a computer? And everybody's like moping. So I had to find ways to make it very simple for them. Yeah, I had to look for like the simplest things. What are these kids familiar with? What do they understand? So I had to like find simple things to explain. That was like my first experience with technical writing, but I didn't know, right? Because at that point I had to abandon whatever textbooks the school had, and I had to find ways to explain things to them, which worked. It was a very successful 1 year for me. However, my career started when I was learning Flutter, and then when I run into an error, a bug, I'll take a screenshot and share on Twitter. And then when I fix it, I'll still come back on Twitter and say, hey guys, okay, thank you to this person. This person helped me fix it. This is what I did. So I did that for a couple of months. And then educative.io reached out to me and said, hey, Cynthia, we love what you're doing. And we're just a new company starting out, and we will not pay you. But if you can write these things as blog posts, we could post it on our platform. And that was it. So that was my start in technical writing. So when people reach out to me and be like, how can they start? I said, for you to be able to write, you should be able to learn. You should be learning something. You can't write when you're not learning. You can't write when there's nothing to give. You only write and talk about what you know. When or how to start, then the first thing you want to do is start learning. Learn as much. I go as far as telling people that don't have technical background to pick up a book. It could be an introduction to Python programming for kids. Pick it up. It's simple. It's basic. You can start from there and then just write as you go. You don't necessarily need to be a god at anything to do technical writing, but at least you need those basics when it comes to the technicalities that comes with it. So yeah, it just happens. If once you see that there are things for you you'd like to share, and one thing I also tell people is this: we have over 7 billion people in the world, and given that we have that much people in the world, not everybody understand things the same way, because people will say, we have enough articles on this, you can find 1 million articles on what is programming, and I'm like, you know, if we have so much articles, why are people still finding it difficult to know what programming is? Why are people still finding it difficult to get started with programming? That means there's not enough. There is at least 100 people that would understand programming just because you wrote it, because you're writing it from a different angle, right? You're writing it from a different perspective, and that's the perspective people understand from. I watch lots of videos for Flutter, and I probably just love only two tutors, right? And the same thing, we have favorite tutors, and you're like, I prefer this person, and you're like, you prefer this other person. I'm like, I don't understand what this person is saying. So it's the same thing with technical writing. I read some articles and I'm like, damn, why was this looking so hard? And then I read some, I'm like, this was so hard. And someone else is saying the opposite thing, right? So we all have different perspectives. And if all of us in the world decide to write on one topic, we would understand it all differently. So just write. That's it.
Awesome, awesome. So from this conversation, I have a couple of more questions to ask you from what you guys have talked about. But let me take them in bits, right? So the first question I would ask, and this is to Deborah first, is just like Cynthia mentioned, if everybody has their own understanding depending on who is communicating to them. If not, it would have been very easy for everybody to understand web development, understand their stacks and all of that. So, but
Yeah.
putting it into context, right? Does technical writing in any way, right, assist a software engineer, right, to improve their skill sets?
Yes, definitely. It did that for me. So while I was learning Node.js, I would write about it. And for you to write about something, you might, okay, let me use something, let me break it down for anyone listening and it's not familiar about someone that's not familiar about Node.js. Let me use JavaScript for instance. So I might be learning something in JavaScript, like how to write functions in JavaScript. And I'm writing about, and I want to write about how to write functions in JavaScript. Yeah. So for me to write that article, it won't just be like 3 sentences. For me to write that article, I would have to be really, I'll have to be like really knowledgeable about that, and it would take me to start, doing lots of research, and from there I would come across other tutorials, and then I would learn more and read more, and at the same time I'm improving my skill set indirectly. I would, let me say directly, yeah, I'm actually improving my skill set because I'm going to get better at that JavaScript. I'm going to get better at writing functions. So writing actually expands your knowledge. It expands what you know. It makes you know more. Yeah. So and yeah, so I think that's what I have to say.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Then over to you, Deborah. Okay, so sorry to Cynthia, right? I would like to know. So how many? First of all, do you earn? Have you earned from technical writing?
Yeah, sure. I have.
Okay, okay. So how many articles do you need to write before you start earning from technical writing?
I barely had 3 or 4, and it was on educative.io, not even my personal blog. I created my personal blog
Oh,
just last year, right? Just because I wanted to have somewhere to put my own stuff where I don't necessarily need to remove some words, remove some links because the company doesn't want it to be so, right? So I had to
okay.
create my own because I had my opinion I wanted to voice out. I had my things I wanted to write. So yeah, but prior to getting jobs, all I did was write a couple of articles on educative.io, and that was like 2 or 3, and that was it.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Cool. So I'm going to
Yeah.
throw this open to either you or Deborah to answer, right? So besides software engineering, right, are there any other career paths in tech that technical writing has an impact on?
Um, Technical writing has an impact when it comes to, the funny truth, anything that has to do with content, right? When you're building a product or building a company, a technical writer sometimes has to be involved, because this person has to communicate between maybe marketing and engineering sometimes,
Hmm.
right? I
Awesome.
mean, aside the product
Awesome.
person, product owner being there. So the technical writer is always that middleman in between, like the whole team.
Yeah.
So aside content, somewhere else they could play a role is business writing,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Awesome.
business writing. It's really important. Then Devrel. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, so Deborah is another place, right? I before now, technical writing used to be treated as an one of the first things you have to put in place when you're building your product, because if you don't document things from the start, when it's time for you to expand or get more hands into the product, that's when you see people running multiple meetings to be able to explain what they do to maybe new hires or shareholders in the company. But if you have these things documented for different audience, both your consumers, your shareholders, then teammates, it makes the work a lot more easier, and it's documented. I mean, everything that's documented, it always pays off eventually. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it also makes it super easy for users of products, right? To, I mean, use the product itself. So from a
Yeah,
business perspective, because the first choice for any user would be something that is simple to understand, right? And so
exactly.
technical documentation will aid their understanding of the product and its features. And so that is a very, very valid point. So this is also another open question about the opportunities that exist in technical writing. So what opportunities exist in technical writing? And then, is there career path for technical writers?
Deborah, would you like to go?
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have this link open here. So I'll just share. I don't know how I can share it though. Where
There's a
can I
there's
share
a
this? Can I
private
like
chat or comment. You can
okay.
share in your
I
yeah.
just put the link in the I don't know if it can be accessible. Whatever, yeah.
Awesome,
So
awesome, awesome.
this is like a GitHub repository for technical writers, and it has like I can't even count like so many. I think over 20 or opportunities for technical writers to actually earn for to write articles based on their technology or their field. Like for instance, if you write front end articles, like if you write React JS, you could write articles for any of them. You could just search and look for any company that is looking for React JS technical writers and apply to them. And the prices are also attached, so you would know how much you would earn. So it's actually a very good resource. I've gotten like I don't know up to five. I think I'm definitely not writing for all of them, but I've gotten up to five. Um, like I think a year ago, I got to like up to five companies to write for here, and it was really cool because they actually paid what the price that is actually here in the GitHub repository. So if someone can actually go through this GitHub repository, they'll see a lot of opportunities for themselves, no matter the field they're in tech. It's actually a very helpful piece. So yeah. And there are
Yes.
other opportunities like if you want to improve on your technical writing skill, you could apply or to Google Season of Docs. I think I should look up or I just type it in the comment
Yes,
section.
yes, 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 please. Yes, please.
Yeah,
So that we
Google
can
Season of
share with our
Docs.
audience as well.
Yeah, and
Um,
let me do a Google search as well.
Okay, and something I just realized is that, of course, writing, right? As a technical writer, potential employers are exposed to your communication abilities. It brings you out,
Yeah,
exposes you, right? So that's also a plus to someone who is, for example, into software engineering, right? So that's also
yeah.
another opportunity, right, for someone who's a technical writer as well. So any last minute thoughts that you'd like to share, Cynthia, Deborah, before
Yes, I was
we
saying, yeah, before coffee, I was saying that
uh,
if you want to improve on your technical writing skills, like if you want to become very good in technical documentation, you could apply to Google Season of Docs and just read about it. I think I posted the link in the comment section. Read about Google Season of Docs, and it's also another way for to build your qualification. And when companies see that you were once at Google Season of Docs, boosts your chance of being a dev advocate or a technical writer at huge companies and all of that.
Awesome,
Yeah.
fantastic. So, Cynthia, any last words? We're running out of time. Just in
Um,
30 seconds.
okay.
30 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Uh, Open source is a new source. All right. So what that means is, for you to get started as a technical writer, well, you can start with writing on your blog. Right. It gives you real time feedback, and it helps you. Sorry, it helps you
Very
find
sorry.
your voice,
Sorry about that.
right? Writing on your blog helps you find your voice. It helps you build around yourself. So by the time you write like 3 blogs, the next thing you want to do is move on. Look for open source projects. Most of the time, applying to some of these community writer programs can be challenging. Trust me, it can be. I've collected my own share of rejections. So, yeah, but I mean, it may not be the same thing for you, right? It may not be the same thing for you. So, sure, you should give it a shot. But just in case it doesn't work, just in case you don't get into Google season of docs, one thing you can try is open source projects. There's a million of them. Most open source projects are horrible, and that's because the documentation sucks, right? So you can just find a project that you like, a project that you're fond of, or you find just any project at all that is open source and tell them, hey, I want to work on your onboarding docs. I want to work on your getting started docs. And that's one way to go, right? So I know a lot of people that have started contributing to projects just as open source contributors, and then they end up getting paid for the job eventually. So it's too hectic to start. And sometimes the
Sorry about that.
rejections may make you feel like, there's no hope in this. Yeah, it's okay. There's really no hope in this thing. But all I want to say is, pick up a book, pick up a course. There's a million of them. You can reach out to me, or I could just drop a link after now. I recommend a couple of books that are very beginner friendly. Pick up a book, pick up a course, start learning and start sharing, improve your writing, join a community of writers that could help you maybe review, give you feedback before you put it out there, actually doing the same thing you do. And apply to jobs, apply to open source projects, join open source communities, and just keep writing, man. Keep writing, you'll be fine.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
guys. Just in case
I
you're thinking
sorry.
about, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I posted a link to one of my tutorials on getting started in technical writing, just in case someone wants like a step-by-step guide. So
okay.
the link to the
Yeah.
YouTube video, it's in the comment section.
Yeah, awesome. So just in case you're thinking where we're going to share this link, we're going to share it on YouTube, on our social media channels. So please follow us on our social media channels so that you can have these links and be on your way to being an awesome technical writer. So guys, I want to thank you very much for your time. It was nice spending time with you, Deborah and Cynthia,
My
and all the
pleasure.
speakers that have spoken today at Remote Fest. Thank you so much at Remote Base. We're so grateful to have you, and enjoy the remaining part of your day and the rest of the week. You guys are awesome. Thank
Guys,
you.
it's actually
Uh,
it's actually
Bye.
night, so thank you. Good night.
Yes, yes, yeah. Good